let's cut right to the chase. Many people want to believe that the megalodon is still out there. But could it be true? Over time, more and more evidence has surfaced, suggesting these giant sharks might not be as extinct as we thought. From video footages to beached sharks, here are 15 reasons why the megalodon might still exist. Number 15. Video evidence. As the old saying goes, seeing is believing. In 2019, a video posted on YouTube came with the hope that everybody would believe what they saw. A giant shark leaping out of the ocean to grab something in its jaws. But there's a catch. While the shark initially looks like a typical great white, there's something different. It's far, far too big to be considered a normal or ordinary great white. While great whites can ultimately grow up to 20 feet in length, this shark appears to be much, much bigger, raising the question. Is it a great white? Or is it our old prehistoric friend? I mean, for all we know, this could be the shark from Jaws a few decades on. Who knows? As with almost everything on YouTube, the video inspired much debate and speculation, with many suggesting that the whole thing is nothing but a hoax or the work of talented computer VFX artists hoping to create a viral sensation. After all, think of all the viral shark videos we've had, from the Super Bowl dancing shark through to baby shark. Still, proving a hoax is an incredibly difficult task, and since nobody has been able to disprove the video as of yet, we can conclude that this may very well be Jason Statham's old friend. Number 14. The unexplored ocean. Our planet could easily be mistaken as a breeding ground for sharks. 70% of planet Earth is made up of water, with our oceans taking up a vast 361.9 million square kilometers, all teeming with life. In every single one of our 5 oceans, there exist delicate ecosystems filled with fish, algae, sharks, and more. But despite the thousands of oceanographers, geographers, and others who've dedicated their lives to exploring these hidden worlds, there's a lot more left to discover. Only 15% of the Earth's oceans have been explored, meaning that there's an incredible 85% completely untouched. As technology develops, it is becoming easier and more accessible for scientists and marine biologists to explore these once unreachable worlds. Every day, new species are being observed, and old species once believed to be lost are being rediscovered. All of this suggests that the megalodon could exist without necessarily having been discovered. Perhaps it's hiding in one of these unexplored expanses, playing the world's greatest game of hide and seek. Ready or not? Number 13. The HMS Challenger. Sure, the HMS Challenger has been out of service since the late 1800s, but that's also what they say about the megalodon. The HMS Challenger was a Royal Navy ship typically used for marine expeditions back in the 1800s, and that is precisely where the megalodon comes in. In 1875, the HMS Challenger discovered a pair of megalodon teeth while dredging a Tahiti seabed as part of an expedition. These teeth have been the subject of intense debate, with experts dating them anywhere between 10,000 and 25,000 years old. That, of course, is a very long time, but it doesn't line up with the generally agreed extinction date of the megalodon. According to scientists, the megalodon went extinct around 1.5 million years ago. So, if the megalodon, which, may I remind you, loses teeth every 2 weeks, is extinct, how exactly did it leave behind a tooth several 100,000 years after the date it disappeared? Of course, there's no real answer to that, and scientists continue to dispute the claims. But if the dating is accurate, it suggests that not only was the megalodon somehow able to survive the Ice Age, but it's likely learned to adapt to a whole new life. If that is the case, it stands to reason that the megalodon is surviving and thriving in the new and rapidly changing temperatures of our oceans. And generally, I'm glad there's one species able to do that. Number 12. The Japanese species. When you're searching for a prehistoric animal, it can sometimes help to try and bait it out of extinction. Okay, you know what I mean? A group of Japanese researchers exploring the Mariana Trench had this exact idea, hoping to discover what kind of sharks were thriving deep inside the trench. Lying in a bait cage with meat and an attached camera, they began to lower the cage until something came to feed. Of course, the creature feeding on the bait was no ordinary fish but a long, massive beast of a shark that soon vanished deep into the trench. Marine biologists initially dismissed the footage as insufficient proof of the megalodon, suggesting instead that it's a run-of-the-mill Pacific sleeper shark, often found in the Pacific Ocean. That didn't really go down well with shark aficionados, who pointed out that the Pacific sleeper shark only grows to 20 feet, while the shark looks to be far, far longer. Scientists know this stuff, but YouTube also knows stuff. Knowing that the megalodon was capable of growing up to 60 feet long, this footage proves to be rather difficult to dismiss. Without biologists tracking or studying the shark in question, there's no real way to know if this was simply a Pacific sleeper shark or a thriving megalodon. Still, we happen to think it may be the megalodon. Feel free to drop us a line in the comments if you have any idea. Number 11. Cartilage. Many skeptics claim that if the megalodon were truly alive, some of its remains would have been recovered from the ocean floor. Of course, this is almost impossible to achieve. The biology of sharks is significantly different than that of mammals in that they lack what we consider to be a skeleton. A shark's body is made up almost entirely of cartilage, with the only bones being found in the jaw, back, and teeth. Cartilage, unlike bone, does not fossilize easily, which is why the fossil record for sharks is so sparse compared to other ancient creatures. Even the teeth, which are the most durable part of a shark's body, are often scattered and difficult to trace back to a specific species. The ocean floor is also an incredibly vast and largely unexplored area, with depths and trenches that remain inaccessible to modern technology. This means that even if remains of a megalodon did exist, they could be buried under layers of sediment or hidden in areas we have yet to reach. Additionally, the constant movement of ocean currents and tectonic activity could further scatter or destroy any potential evidence. Some researchers argue that the lack of remains doesn't necessarily mean the megalodon is extinct, as the deep ocean could provide a perfect hiding place for such a creature. The discovery of other living fossils, like the coelacanth, has shown that species thought to be extinct for millions of years can still exist in remote and unexplored habitats. This possibility keeps the debate alive, fueling both scientific curiosity and public fascination. So, what does that mean for our pursuit of the megalodon? It means that the only way we could trace this legendary creature would be to locate the jaw bones, spinal bones, or teeth, the latter of which we know to be the most commonly recovered fossil. So, without more conclusive proof of dead megalodons, it's hard to prove definitively that the creature is extinct. Now it's time for today's topic. The U.S. Navy was forced to abruptly abandon a scheduled military exercise after a shocking discovery during a routine scan of the ocean. The exercise, planned to take place in the remote waters of the North Pacific, required the area to be thoroughly scanned using advanced Navy drones to ensure safety. However, what the drones captured left the crew stunned: a massive, shadowy figure resembling a prehistoric shark lurking in the depths. The creature, estimated to be over 80 feet long, had a distinct shark-like shape but was far larger than any known species, including the largest great whites or whale sharks. Its movements were slow and deliberate, and its sheer size dwarfed anything the Navy had ever encountered. The footage showed the creature gliding silently through the water, its presence both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The discovery caused immediate concern among the Navy officials, who decided to halt the exercise and evacuate the area. Marine biologists who reviewed the footage speculate it could be a relic from prehistoric times, possibly a megalodon thought to have been extinct for millions of years. For now, the creature's identity remains a mystery, leaving many to wonder, what else could be hiding in the uncharted depths of our oceans? Number 10. Divers footage. When you live your life exploring the oceans, you're likely going to come across a giant prehistoric shark now and then. That's what happened to a group of Australian cage divers who witnessed what may just be one of the first undeniable sightings of the megalodon in our modern age. While it has the appearance and the body structure associated with a typical great white, the sheer size of the animal has led many to suggest that this creature may just have something special about it. The divers described the shark as being at least 40 feet long, with a girth so massive that it dwarfed their cage and the boat they were on. Its movements were slow and deliberate, as if it had no reason to fear anything in its environment, a trait often attributed to apex predators. The footage captured by the divers shows the shark circling the cage, its enormous tail creating powerful currents that rocked the boat above. Some experts have pointed out that the shark's teeth, visible in the video, appear larger and more triangular than those of a typical great white, adding to the mystery. The divers also noted unusual scars and markings on the shark's body, which could suggest it has survived battles with other massive creatures in the deep. The sighting has sparked renewed interest in the possibility of undiscovered or thought to be extinct species lurking in the unexplored depths of the ocean. Enthusiasts argue that the vastness of the ocean, much of which remains uncharted, could easily hide creatures of this size. Whether it's a megalodon or an unknown species, the encounter has reignited debates about what might still be out there, waiting to be discovered. Of course, marine biologists and scientists have, as expected, dismissed the footage as merely proof that great whites exist in the ocean, something everybody knows. But that explanation is pretty weak considering the size of the beast, which is clearly something much larger than the great white. If this isn't the megalodon, it may well be some other prehistoric shark. Maybe we just discovered a whole new species. I wonder how many hat-wearing Danny DeVitos it is. Number 9. The whale tail. No, we're not talking about underwear here, but an actual whale's tail. In January 2009, a Hawaii resident out at sea happened to catch sight of something strange on the beach. A dead whale had washed up with its entire back end missing. Closer inspection revealed that the whale seemed to have had its tail bitten clean off, leaving its guts and entrails pouring out onto the sand. The sheer force required to sever a whale's tail in one bite is staggering, as whales are known for their thick blubber and strong muscle structure. Marine biologists who later examined the footage noted that the bite radius appeared to be far larger than that of any known shark species, including the great white. The clean cut of the injury suggests that the predator responsible had an incredibly powerful jaw, capable of exerting immense pressure in a single attack. Some experts have speculated that the whale may have been attacked while it was still alive, as the injury shows no signs of scavenging or multiple bites. The lack of other bite marks or evidence of a struggle further supports the idea that this was the work of a single, massive predator. While skeptics argue that the injury could have been caused by a ship's propeller, the absence of any mechanical markings makes this theory less likely. In the footage, it's clear that the injury suffered by the whale is something far more severe than a typical shark could inflict. The severing of the tail is clean and looks to have been done in a single bite, not something that would be impossible for even the biggest ordinary shark. The cameraman and viewers of the video only have one explanation. Such a huge bite could only be the work of a megalodon or a very, very hungry large fish. But probably the megalodon. For the more skeptical among us, it's worth noting that megalodons were well-known carnivores who regularly feasted on dolphins, whales, and even other sharks. Coupled with our knowledge that megalodons preferred coastal waters, as well as the sheer size of their teeth and jaws, it's not unrealistic to assume that this was the work of a megalodon. If nothing else, it's nice to know that even prehistoric animals thought Hawaii was a beautiful place to visit. Number 8. The Indonesian sighting. It seems that any time you board a boat, there's a possible chance of a megalodon sighting. Case in point, a man sailing off the coast of Indonesia happened to catch sight of a shark passing by his boat. But, of course, was this really just another shark passing by? Or was this perhaps one of these rare sightings? While the shark kept its distance and stayed beneath the surface, the cameraman was able to zoom in just enough to truly capture an idea of its massive size. The water was crystal clear, making it easier to observe the shark's shadow as it glided effortlessly beneath the waves. Witnesses on the boat described the creature as moving with a calm yet commanding presence, as if it had no natural predators to fear. The sheer size of the dorsal fin cutting through the water was enough to send chills down the spines of those watching. Some marine biologists who later reviewed the footage speculated that it could be a particularly large great white shark, but others were less convinced, pointing out the unusual proportions of the fin and body. The sighting has reignited debates about whether the megalodon, long thought to be extinct, could still exist in the unexplored depths of the ocean. Skeptics argue that no concrete evidence has ever been found to support the idea of a living megalodon, but enthusiasts point to sightings like this as tantalizing clues. Regardless of its true identity, the shark's appearance has captured the imagination of people worldwide, sparking both fascination and fear. In the footage, the dorsal fin alone appears to be around 5 feet tall. For those of you that aren't great with envisioning heights or measurements, that's about the size of Danny DeVito wearing a bowler hat. You're welcome. The shark also appears to be at least 30 feet in length or 6 bowlers, when Danny DeVito's laid end to end in a line, raising yet more questions about the species. Is this just a very, very large great white, or is there another species that hasn't been identified? Or just maybe this is the legendary megalodon? Come to think of it, is Danny DeVito the new megalodon? We're gonna have to look into that one. Number 7. The Cape Town sighting. Despite the world being slightly preoccupied, it seems even wars can't stop a visit from the megalodon. On the 18th of December 1942, Nazi German soldiers, pilots in 2 U-boats in Cape Town, South Africa, happened to catch a photograph of a shark passing by the submersibles. But, of course, the photo would prove that this was not any ordinary shark. The picture shows a creature of approximately 64 feet long from fin to tail, suggesting that the animal may be the subject of our fear and adoration. It may well be the megalodon. The photograph, which has been analyzed by enthusiasts and skeptics alike, shows a shadowy figure in the water, with a dorsal fin that appears to tower over the U-boats. Supporters of the sighting argue that the size and shape of the creature are consistent with historical descriptions of the megalodon, particularly its massive girth and elongated body. Some have pointed out that the U-boat crew's reaction, as described in their logs, suggests genuine shock and awe at the size of the animal. However, critics have noted that the quality of the photograph leaves much to be desired, with some claiming it could easily be a case of mistaken identity or even a hoax. The lack of corroborating evidence, such as additional photographs or detailed accounts from the crew, has only fueled the debate. Still, the sighting has become a popular topic among conspiracy theorists and marine enthusiasts, who see it as one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for the megalodon's existence. Whether real or not, the story has captured the imagination of many, adding yet another layer to the legend of the prehistoric predator. Documentaries exploring the sighting have interviewed marine biologists who have confirmed that the creature seen in the photo is likely to be the megalodon himself. But it's also worth noting that these biologists are seemingly untraceable, giving the skeptics some superiority on that one. Sorry to all you megalodon fans, I really did try my best. Of course, the skeptics continue to find ways to poke holes in the sighting, raising questions about the validity of the photograph. Some have managed to locate the alleged original sharpest frame of footage, while others have noted that the 64 feet between the fin and the tail suggest that this creature was twice the size of the typical megalodon. Still, many believe the photo to be a legitimate piece of evidence to prove once and for all that the extinction is nothing but a red herring or a red shark. Number 6. The Coast Guard sighting. As the home of alligators and other water-dwelling predators, it may be unsurprising that Florida was singled out as the location of a megalodon sighting. In 2012, the Florida Coast Guard was sent on a mission to recover a group of people from a capsized boat. During their efforts to rescue those at sea, a high-speed camera capturing the rescue in action picked up what may be footage of the megalodon. A closer inspection of the footage shows a dark, striking shadow that passes by the boat and survivors themselves under the water. The shadow's movement was slow and deliberate, giving the impression of a massive creature calmly surveying the scene. Experts who analyzed the footage noted that the shadow appeared to be at least 50 feet long, far exceeding the size of any known shark species in the area. Some witnesses on the rescue boat later reported feeling a strange sense of unease, as if they were being watched from below. The footage has since been reviewed by marine researchers, with some suggesting that the creature's size and behavior are consistent with descriptions of the megalodon. Others argue that the shadow could have been distorted by the water's surface, making it appear larger than it actually was. Regardless, the video has sparked widespread interest and debate, with many calling for further investigation into the waters off Florida's coast. While the survivors may not have noticed, it's hard to miss from this footage. The shadow is extremely long, much longer than any other shark we've ever seen. Marine biologists have claimed that the shark in the video is a whale shark, noted for its ability to grow as long as 18 meters and fondness for open tropical waters. Of course, this is a perfectly valid explanation, but it's irrelevant to the video in question, which was filmed in neither tropical nor open water, but a coastline. On the other hand, the megalodon is known for preferring the warmest waters of a coastline and, as a surface dweller, it's never been particularly afraid of lurking just under the waves. While the debate will rage on about exactly what kind of shark this is, we firmly believe it could be the megalodon. Number 5. Mariana Trench. Known as the deepest trench in the world, the Mariana Trench is the ultimate hiding place for underwater creatures who don't want to be bothered by the human world. Hidden away in the Pacific Ocean, the farthest known depth in the trench is around 36,000 feet, so deep that Mount Everest could fit completely inside of it without getting close to breaching the surface. Scientists have discovered that vibrant life within this depth has creatures, from giant tube worms to tiny microbial life forms, thriving in this unexplored ecosystem. But there is one creature who is, as of yet, unaccounted for: the megalodon. If the megalodon really is hiding deep underwater, having adapted to a whole new climate and depth that comes with it, there would be no better way to hide than the Mariana Trench. Tucked far away from human disruption, with much room to live and thrive, the trench is practically a hideaway for celebrity fish. It's the Hamptons or the Beverly Hills of the ocean. But perhaps most importantly for a predator like the megalodon, the trench has an extra appeal: thousands and thousands of little fish swimming around, just waiting to be eaten. If the megalodon is hiding anywhere underwater, it would most likely be in the largely unexplored Mariana Trench. With so many species at its disposal, it's hard to deny the appeal of such a perfect hideaway for such a legendary predator. Is it possible that our favorite fish is just waiting at the deepest point for some documentary crew to stumble upon it? We'll have to wait and see. Number 4. Megalodon teeth. If you ever wondered why there are so many cheap shark tooth necklaces on sale at pretty much every clothing store, then here's an answer just for you. It turns out that shark teeth are not only manufactured to help hipsters and beach dwellers feel more in tune with nature, but there are also just a lot of them on the ocean floor. Sharks lose a set of teeth every 1 to 2 weeks, depending on what they've been eating, and they're able to produce new ones throughout their entire life. Basically, it's a good thing they don't have dentists. Because of this bi-weekly tooth loss, it's no real surprise that almost every megalodon fossil recovered is a tooth. In fact, megalodon quite literally translates to big tooth, so it's really on brand to keep putting out this kind of merchandise. Megalodon teeth can grow up to 18 centimeters long, making them far more noticeable on the ocean floor than typical shark teeth. But the question remains, how is it that so many teeth are being discovered if the megalodon is genuinely extinct? Scientists believe that the reason is logical. Shark teeth are one of a handful of bones in their entire skeleton. It makes complete sense that such material would remain intact and fossilized over thousands or even millions of years. Still, it also suggests that there could, in theory, be a whole new group of megalodons eating well in the depths of the ocean. If a shark loses its teeth every 2 weeks, then it must be possible for these teeth to be brand new. There could be a very well-fed megalodon out there. Number 3. Google Earth. More than just a blatant invasion of privacy, Google Earth is a conspiracy theorist's toolbox. Google Earth has been used to find Atlantis, to try and infiltrate Area 51, and has now even been used to track the megalodon, and it may well have worked. Somehow, someone browsing on Google Earth discovered a captured aerial image of a shark off the coast of Iraq. The discovery isn't entirely out of the realm of possibility, bearing in mind that the Google Earth cameras are taken from very high in the air. Any animals that it captures with such clarity must be huge. The image shows a distinct shadow in the water, with a shape that unmistakably resembles a shark's body, complete with a massive dorsal fin. Experts who have analyzed the image have noted that the proportions of the shadow are far larger than those of any known shark species. Some enthusiasts have even compared the image to historical megalodon reconstructions, pointing out striking similarities in size and shape. While skeptics argue that the shadow could be a whale or even a trick of the light, the lack of definitive evidence leaves room for speculation. The discovery has reignited debates about the possibility of the megalodon's survival, with some calling for further investigation into the area where the image was captured. How often do you see bugs or poodles or hamsters? Exactly. To see a shark with such clarity from such a height means that this creature is likely around 70 feet in length. That is a very, very, very big shark. But there's something else that points to this being a strong possible sighting. It lines up with everything we know about the megalodon. We know from historical research that the megalodon loves coastal waters, is a surface dweller, and typically grows to around 60 feet on average. Well, this image seems to suggest all of those things. If any skeptics are watching, feel free to explain this one in the comments below. This may be as close as we get to definite proof, or it could be a big shark. Number 2. Mexican beached shark. Vacations often conjure up fond memories of hot sand, warm sun, and unidentified bodies of beached sharks. Well, maybe the last one doesn't happen too often, but it happened to one group of unsuspecting tourists. While vacationing in Mexico, a group of tourists were stunned to discover that a massive 40-foot-long unidentified species of shark had washed up on the shore near their resort. The sheer size of the shark left many onlookers in awe, with some speculating that it could be a prehistoric species or an undiscovered deep-sea giant. Others suggested it might have been a whale shark or basking shark, both of which can grow to enormous sizes, though the lack of proper identification left room for wild theories. The shark's body showed signs of decay, leading some to believe it had been dead for several days before washing ashore. Local fishermen claimed they had never seen anything like it in the area, adding to the mystery surrounding the creature. The incident quickly went viral on social media, with photos and videos sparking debates among marine enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists alike. Some experts who viewed the images online noted that the shark's features were difficult to analyze due to the state of decomposition, making identification nearly impossible. The event also raised questions about the health of marine ecosystems, and whether environmental factors could be driving large sea creatures closer to shore. Of course, in true vacation style, tourists immediately ran toward the beached animal and began taking photos and videos to remember their vacation time forever. After all, why pay for a souvenir when you can take a picture with a possible megalodon for free? Despite so many tourists getting photos, the actual species of shark was never researched by marine biologists or scientists. Unfortunately, the shark soon was washed back out into the ocean, rendering it impossible to recover and meaning that we'll never truly know. Still, those tourists have gifted the world with their images, making it possible for us to get a good look at what may well be a megalodon, or just a big dead shark. Number 1. The coelacanth. It may sound like something from a science fiction story, but the coelacanth is living proof that extinction is not necessarily the end. It was long believed that the coelacanth, a small fish that lives far beneath the surface of the ocean, had been extinct for over 65 million years. But in 1938, scientists found a living specimen of the fish off the coast of South Africa, debunking any claim that the coelacanth no longer existed. Even science gets it wrong sometimes. The rediscovery of this long-missing species has led many to suspect that the megalodon has befallen a similar fate, indeed, living below the ocean, far from the eyes of curious humans. Some enthusiasts argue that the vastness of the ocean, with its unexplored trenches and deep-sea ecosystems, could easily hide a creature as large as the megalodon. The discovery of other deep-sea species, such as the giant squid, has shown that large marine animals can remain hidden for centuries. Additionally, the adaptability of certain species to extreme environments has raised questions about whether the megalodon could have evolved to survive in colder, deeper waters. While skeptics point out the lack of physical evidence, believers argue that the ocean's sheer size and inaccessibility make it impossible to rule out the existence of such a creature entirely. The coelacanth's rediscovery serves as a reminder that nature often defies our expectations, keeping its secrets hidden until the right moment. Scientists have largely dismissed this theory, noting that the megalodon preferred shallow, warm water and was particularly fond of prowling the coasts, a claim that makes it highly unlikely for the megalodon to adapt so drastically to a whole new life in the cold depths of the wide-open ocean. But while scientists claim that the possibility of the megalodon's survival is less than 1%, the rediscovery of the coelacanth means that there is now a precedent for the rediscovery of species long thought to be extinct. With new technology, scientists are exploring our world in ways previously impossible. And if smaller fish can adapt to a whole new ecosystem, who's to say that the ultimate aquatic predator can't do the same? Maybe the megalodon is a vegan now. Actually, probably not. Do you think the meg is still out there? Or do you have your own theories? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to check out our other cool videos showing up on the screen right now. See you next time.